and welcome to day 2 of the African Food System Forum Culinary Village. We're delighted that you've chosen to join us. You've got the seats, you're going to get some taste, you're going to get some inspiration. It's going to be lots of fun. Yesterday we had an amazing experience with Chef Pinky and Chef Bettina, and today we're going to be continuing that, and I'm going to introduce you in a minute to a couple of key chefs. Today we're talking about the overall theme for the African Food System Summit or Forum's vision, and we're going to be focusing on regenerate. And so what does this mean when we talk about delicious food? My name's Paul Newnham. I'm the Executive Director at the Sustainable Development Goal 2 Advocacy Hub. And I'm going to be the host and MC for the next hour as we interact, cook, taste, get hungry, and then get satisfied with some amazing bites. As I shared yesterday, and I'll share again today, we coordinate a number of different things, including the Chef's Manifesto. The Chef's Manifesto is a network of chefs that are connected around the world. These chefs came together, they're in over 90 countries, they came together, looked at the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and have created a framework that is connected to 8 thematic areas. There's 8 action areas that chefs are driving action on. It's an action framework. It's about cooking, it's about eating, it's about driving change. It's not just about talk and conversation. And so they come together and look at different issues like investing in livelihoods, protecting biodiversity and improved animal welfare, working on valuing natural resources and reducing waste, celebrating local and seasonal foods, focusing on plant-based ingredients, educating people about healthy diets, lots of different initiatives. If you want to have a look at this, please go to chefsmanifesto.org and you'll find this document. You can download it. It's in a number of languages, and so you'll be able to have a look at that and be able to get a little bit more there. But before we begin, I just want to invite you to consider this theme that we're going to talk a little bit about, regeneration in our cooking. How can we do this at home, in our hotels, restaurants? How do we grow crops that are good for people and the planet? Sometimes we think about just one dimension when we're growing crops, but we need crops that are good for people and planet. 2023 is the International Year of Millets, and so we're going to be engaging with millets, and we're going to be talking about them and why they're important, but we're also going to be engaging with beans. We're going to be engaging with lots of beans, lentils, peas in different ways. And we're going to be looking at how we can address some of our multiple crises, climate, conflict, biodiversity loss, all of these kinds of things. So I'm going to invite 2 chefs to come and join me that are going to come up on stage and introduce themselves. So we've got 2 Chefs Manifesto Network chefs here. We've got Chef Shrumi and Chef Lerato. Please come up and join us. Come on, yeah! Bit of energy. These guys are going to be creating flavor, taste. You guys are going to be excited. So you might be a bit tired and needing that sustenance, but it's going to come there. So let's ask you guys to introduce yourselves. So first, Chef.
So my name is Shrimoy Chakraborty. I am Indian but based out of London and India. I am a chef. I used to have a couple of restaurants in London, and now I make TV shows and documentaries about food.
Awesome. So great to have you with us, and it's going to be, I can't wait to see what you're going to be cooking. Chef Lerato, we're old friends. Tell us about yourself.
So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lerato Sithole. I am from South Africa. I am a chef and currently working in the Cape Winelands, running an activist retreat and just being passionate about cooking seasonal food and putting it on the dish.
So you're passionate about seasonal food and putting it on a dish. This is great to hear. So tell us, what kind of inspires you to do that? Where did that come from?
Thank you, Paul. So my inspiration is really from just observing as a chef, family members and friends, and just like the community at home, and just how obesity is threatening youth and just threatening, especially the girl child, and just how we've diverted from just eating indigenous food, seasonal food, and food that is just readily available to us, and opting to eat expensive processed food every day because, I call it lack of awareness, because we just don't know how to properly prepare them.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to get you guys to introduce your ingredients as well. Maybe, Shumi, do you want to just tell us what are you going to be using today? We won't get into the full detail, but I want to know what are these ingredients here.
So my main hero ingredient, I guess, is pearl millets. So pearl millets are these ones. So they are slightly like kind of plumpier millets, and it's widely found in Africa, but also you find them in India and many other parts of the world. And now with millet gaining popularity, you'll find it pretty much everywhere. And I'm also using lentils. This is yellow lentils or mung lentils, but I'm usually of the belief, like my recipes are usually always whatever you have in your kitchen, let's make use of that. Whoops, did I just do that?
I think the other headset got
Got it. But yeah, anyway, the point is you can swap these ingredients with anything. Like, you can swap the millets with rice, but it just takes much longer to cook rice. And I feel millets with the international, millets celebration. I think I just wanted to show this really beautiful ingredient. And I've got a bunch of vegetables, which everybody usually has in their kitchen, like tomatoes, cucumber, onion, ginger, garlic, chilies, and some spices.
Amazing. And millet, in case you didn't know, millets they use a lot less water than rice to grow. They're very easy. I've got a friend who farms with a lot of millet, and he says they're very easy. You scatter them and they just grow. And so they're a farmer's friend in that way. And so millets are really important. They're a very traditional food in West Africa and India, but they've lost a little bit of their shine. And so we're trying to think about how we bring that back.
So I think the problem millets had is in India, the recipe I'm going to make is from Rajasthan, which is in the west of India, and it's quite a dry place, which is why you find millets there quite easily. And the reputation that millets had was only poorer people have millets because the rich people can afford to have white rice. But, and in Rajasthan, because of course there's not enough water, and millets also keep you full for longer. So the whole concept around it was, this is a millet khichdi, which in Rajasthan they call it bajra. And the bajra khichdi, the principle of it is that if you have it in the morning for breakfast as a worker, you're good to go, you're full of energy. And this is great. I mean, I don't understand why people would not, think of it differently and be like, actually, I want to do that with all the, health programs going around. So I thought of bringing in produce that you can find. So the ingredients I'm using, you can find pretty much anywhere in the world, but especially in Africa. But also it's a very traditional Indian recipe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as you get started, you can get
I will
started. I
start,
know
yeah.
you've got to cook quite a bit. Raga, what are you going to be bringing to us? What ingredients have you chosen?
So I have 3 different types of beans. So I'm making like what in South Africa you would find on the table every time we get together and have like a braai, like a barbecue. And I'm just honestly trying to save that recipe because it's one that could be absolutely delicious. It's everything that is ever in your fridge, but it's just not encouraging to eat. So I feel like I'm giving it like the second life to it. So I have kidney beans, I have chickpeas, and then I have fresh beans. And so that would normally just be that in a bowl and then with some pasta. So it really doesn't give you, any shape or size, or it doesn't entice you to eat it with your barbecue. But what I've want to do is I'm going to add some color to it, some red, yellow, and green peppers, some cucumber, add a little bit of onion for a crunch, some couscous, but you can put in the quinoa as well, and then I've made like a basil herb sauce, and I'm gonna just dress it with that, lots of herbs. But this recipe basically is the starter to bigger possibilities. You can add flake nuts, you can add mango, pomegranate, avocado. It can lemon, it can grow to like magnet. But this one I wanted to make it simple because it's everything that's in your fridge it is affordable, it's extremely low cost, and it also doesn't require much cooking. So, you know, for a busy mom who just needs to take a dish to a barbecue, this is what you do. Easy, easy.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get you started as we get going. I can see the action's going. I'm chasing up that microphone too, Charles, still. So we need to get that microphone. But I'm going to, we've got a number of different faces and friends in the audience, and I'm going to invite JC to come up. JC, please come up and join us. I'm just
While
gonna borrow
JC's
this.
coming up, I want to give a little thing. So I'm using ghee, which is clarified butter to cook this. You can use ghee, butter, oil, whatever you have. But I think ghee is always nicer, and it's very, very Indian and very local.
Yeah.
And it's also healthier.
Thank you. I can see the action going. So, JC.
Yes, thank you.
Please introduce yourself. Where are you
Right.
from?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is not JC alone. Otherwise, you say Jesus Christ. No. It's Jean-Claude Rubiogo. I lead the BEAN program, the Global BEAN program, and the Pan-African BEAN Research Alliance. So our aim is to see how you produce more beans as a farmer, and you consume more beans, so that it's good for you as a farmer, it's good for you as a consumer, it's good for you also part of the ecosystem. So our aim is to develop technologies which will allow the farmer to get a better productivity, to get a better market, and then better beans which are good for the consumer, higher nutritional levels, cooking time very short. You know, cooking is very takes a lot of energy and time. Reduce that cooking time, and palatable, which when you eat, the stomach does not go on strike. No, you know, you can eat some beans and the stomach can go on strike. For now, we are developing a variety with the less of that gas. So, right. So that's what I do. I'm based in Nairobi. I lead a team of closer to 100 people who work on that beans globally. And in Africa, we work with the national research institutions like TARI in Tanzania, Karo in Kenya, NARO in Uganda, RAB in Rwanda, and the private sector who want these varieties and technologies. And then they multiply the seed, they sell to other seed producers or farmers. And then the farmer, once they produce, we also work with the grain traders who buy the grain from the farmer at a better price, profitable price, and then the farmers will be incentivized to produce more, but at the same time, the trader takes the beans to the consumer, and they can boil them or they can process them to other products which are which have better nutrition, but also short cooking time, or which you don't even have to cook, they are ready to eat.
Yeah.
So that's our work, that's our job, to make sure that both farmers, consumer, they're happy with what we do.
So we were, as you walked into this tent, people see a whole range of beans there. There's a lot of different types of beans. People have been coming up to me asking me, where do I get these beans? How do I find these seeds? I really want to plant this type of varieties. So you're the man they come and see, huh? You and your team, they can talk to, and then you can talk to them about the partners working to take those beans out into
Right.
the value chain.
Right. Yes, that's a good question, Paul. So yes, once the variety is developed, and the national research institutions or private seed entrepreneurs get these varieties which are good for the farmer, good for the consumer. These are very important. To be good for the farmer, it must be climate resilient because the weather is changing.
Which is regenerate is our
Right.
theme, so
It's
yeah.
really seeing that the variety are short duration. The varieties are disease and pest resistance. At the same time, they can have a better production and better profitability, because at the end of the day, the farmer must make money. That's number one. So the variety you have there, we have also a range of seed producers who get the original material, some of what we call the breeder seed, from the research institutions, and then they multiply, and then they sell to other farmers, to farmers. The seed producer sell to farmers, and then the farmer, sometimes they sell to the grain traders, and the grain traders also sometimes they can combine to get some seed and pass them to the farmer too. But that will be not the best seed alone, but it's better to always renew that seed so that it does not get more diseased. Yeah.
Amazing, yeah. And I think this
So we have a database
Hello?
for each country. We have a database for the seed producers. We have a database for the grain traders where you can get these varieties.
And I think what's really great about this, and I've been able to work with Jean-Claude and his team and understand the work they're doing. They're adding value to these ingredients. So you talked about quicker cooking times, less gas, better nutrients, these kinds of things, which is very, I mean, it's amazing, really. And then this has an impact on, we still have to talk about how then we take it to the product, the chef, the restaurant, the home, and get that into the dishes. Yeah.
It's very unique. Maybe what you have not done much as it should is linking with the chefs. That thing has not been done, but we're in the process to see that we got.
You're here.
Yeah.
We are here.
So we really need to move fast and engage the restaurant, engage the hotels, because in the morning, in most of hotels, they serve canned beans, which is good, but they could also serve boiled beans with the good seasoned like what they are doing here. And me, that's what I like more than canning. And then when you are preparing food like what you are doing, you also have an idea. This is the proteins I'm feeding people.
Yeah.
This is the micronutrients I'm giving to people. This it can do for you. So they only not eat, but also know that the nutritional value. So we are linking, since Paul joined, and also I joined this movement, I have started engaging with the chefs as well. Gone to the big hotels in Nairobi, in Lusaka, in South Africa, and then put on the menu
Yes.
of these big restaurants and big hotels. Not only being seen as women and the poor
Yes.
man's food, but
Yes.
is everybody's food. So that's now what we're looking for.
I have a question for you
Yeah.
Right.
about the canned beans. So, you know, because when you're cooking at home, for example, like I love beans, but when you're on a weeknight, right, when you're really busy, like you want to have beans, but you know, canned beans is just much quicker because sometimes you don't remember to soak them, sometimes you might not have a pressure cooker and it just takes a long time to cook. And same with restaurants, right? I used to have restaurants and a lot of the times you just want to, you know, in a restaurant, you don't have so much time, you have to serve things quickly. Why are you against canned beans?
No, I'm not against the canned beans. Me as a person, I don't like that tomato and other things added.
Yeah,
Me as a person.
Right.
But if I eat like this, I enjoy it because this is like a boiled beans.
Yes.
Just
I mean, of course, it's much better.
right. So
100%,
I like the canned when I don't have alternative.
Exactly.
Me as a person, but it's a good also. It's better because if you look at it, they add several other preservatives. But this beans here doesn't have any preservative.
Yes.
It's quite good
Those
quality.
are amazing.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
But canning also are good. Yeah.
So I mean, what we talk about.
Yes. So just to come back what you were saying about, you know, getting the beans into hotels. Absolutely. And you know, the thing is, as chefs, what we need to do is we look at our basic recipe. You know, all of us are doing this with my colleagues. We look at a basic recipe and we see how we can empower that recipe so that it's no longer seen as a peasant type of food. So we elevate it and give it a new life. You know, we add seasonal or we add other ingredients. You know, my colleague there is baking with it. You know, we are using it as a summer salad. So don't cook it in the way that people see it as an inferior dish. Try and give it a new life, and that will definitely change the mindset of people. You know, so it's education.
I totally agree with you. I went to a restaurant in Kampala. I was asking beans. You know what they told me? Somewhere there's a food kiosk. Not here in a big hotel. Not here. I didn't want to mention a hotel. Go in that food. There's a food kiosk 1 kilometer from here. That's where you'll get beans. That's the mentality.
Yes.
So we need that to change. So that in the big hotels, in a restaurant, 5-star restaurant, they will serve the beans she's talking about with all that ingredient. So that is some myth we need to create and help people to shift. That beans is not just for the poor people, it's for everybody. It has more nutrients than the meat. It has more, also is climate resilient. It requires less water footprint. So there's a lot of things you can do and you create jobs for these women. Majority of farmers of these beans are women. So if you consume 1 kilogram, probably you are giving more money to that poor woman smallholder in the village. So that's what we are trying to help you also create that market opportunity too.
This is great. I mean, we were talking about different types of beans, and convenience is one of the big challenges for many people. We're getting busy. We want an easy meal.
Exactly.
And so how you get your beans. You need lots of different varieties. But these beans, I was very impressed. I went to visit them in Rwanda, and it's a social venture that's doing Farm Fresh. They're doing high iron beans. These are beans that Barbara's been involved in,
Right.
and these beans have high iron. So lots of micronutrient deficiencies. These beans have high iron, but they're cooked in a way that chefs would call sous vide. They're sealed after they've been soaked and then cooked under a steam.
Yes.
And this is like an amazing because it also has all the flavor, the nutrients are not washed out. So you have
Exactly.
a very good dish here.
Yeah.
And the chefs took these beans and they were like, this is super exciting. But this is innovation with beans.
Exactly.
And we've got lots of other products that are at the stand. Yesterday I had a cake with beans. We've had bread with beans. We've got noodles with beans. There's all these things. And why don't we substitute these things a bit
There's
more?
an amazing Chinese dessert which is with made with beans. The bean paste, it's delicious. It's like a red bean paste with like coconut, and it's
Amazing.
just a brilliant dessert. And the first time I had it was a shock, and I was like, wow, this is a great dessert with beans.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think beans is coming back.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Oh, I like
dishes
that point. It's coming back.
It
Yeah.
is. But the dishes like chili con carne,
Right.
like, you know, obviously the British love their baked beans and toast.
Right, right.
But there are many versions of it, right? And I think, like, you know, in India, we use a lot of beans, like rajma, which is like a staple, like which is kidney beans, just curry kidney beans with rice.
Right.
It's brilliant. Or chickpeas, chickpeas not beans, of course,
Right.
but like there's kidney beans, there's black beans, there's so many types of beans, like cannelloni beans, like the white
amazing.
butter beans. I love them.
So one way to increase the consumption, because for the last, let's say, closer to 10 years, we used to think that just boiled beans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But then as the urban population increase, as also because poverty time, women are the ones who go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
When you ask people, they say, well, I don't have more time also to cook.
Yes.
So that's how we had to support industry, our food technologists, to come up with a new product,
Yes.
which are highly nutritious, but also which are convenient, and then which also gives money to the entrepreneurs. So majority of this product you see here, bean flour, they are majority are women.
Yes.
The processors, the ones who are making it. So you can still empower women
Yes.
through these other also business opportunities too.
Which is a key focus for the Africa Food System Forum is to think about women in youth and how do you provide those opportunities. So I think this is important. I'm conscious we need to check in with our chefs how things are
Sure.
going.
Alright.
Richard, let's show us, Loretta, where you're at.
Yes, so I've cut all my peppers. So I haven't added my beans yet, but like this is the crunch of the recipe. Then there's the softer and tender one, you know. So I've just mixed everything, and then these will come in. We'll put the sauce, and we'll put. So as you can see, I don't have a stove. Everything is just fresh, crunchy, and just quick to prepare.
And so in terms of what you've used what's seasonal at the moment, what's around in the market available.
Always in your
Can
fridge.
you substitute different things? Is there ways in which you can kind of rip off this recipe in different ways?
Oh yes. So I mean, peppers are not always very much available, and you know, seasonal, and they can be a little bit pricey. Cherry tomatoes or chopped up tomatoes are always a thing. You can add fruit to this, you know, like mangoes. You can add pomegranates to this. So look, the point of the matter is this is the king of the recipe, and then you just help it. You know, you just elevate it and give it that level of yes, I can do this because I love mango, I love tomato, I love cucumber. You know, red onion. That's what we're trying to do here.
Right.
So we're eating it together. And moms that have got fussy eaters, this also works. Hey, because it's a one pot wonder. So
Amazing.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
great. Well, I think we're going to, in a minute, get some of this out for people to taste.
Yeah.
So you want to keep putting that together?
Yeah, I'm
We'll let
gonna-
JC have a taste while we go over here. We'll get JC back in a minute to do a taste, and I want to taste some before we share it with everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to do quality control.
Yeah. All right. All right.
But
Safe hands.
We'll come over here and then we'll get the team ready with the samples in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
So, show me. So, one of the things where I've heard lots of people about is pairings. You know, we're not just like only eat beans and don't eat anything else.
Exactly.
We're saying we're going to pair things. And beans are part of this bigger family that has lentils, peas in it. And so all of them have that sort of same sorts of properties, different geographies, different elements. But it's also about how you pair, and we talked about millets as a great example. in my part of the world, it was beans on toast
Yes.
with a bread, a whole grain. Other parts of the world, it's with other, it's with different maize flour. Talk to us about how, millets and the lentils are coming together in this.
So the beauty about the lentils, especially the yellow lentils, is they can give a really creamy texture,
Yeah.
right? Because
They break down and
they break down and they can transform a dish. It's like I feel like lentils are like potatoes. Potatoes absorb the best flavors. Like when you put a potato in anything, you want to get a good sauce. Potatoes absorb. Same thing with lentils. And what the millets do is they add a slight crunchiness and texture to it. And then I've got obviously my onion, ginger, garlic, chilies. What else do I have? Tomatoes, fresh coriander, lime juice, and then of course I've got the ghee, which is again adding some kind of creaminess and like a nice sweetness, a fruit smell right now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's got a
it
very
smells.
strong smell.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow,
so it's-
amazing.
ghee
Wow.
Ghee is clarified butter.
Okay.
So again, not many people know. People think ghee originally comes from India, but in France they use a lot of ghee.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the south of France, they use ghee, clarified butter, and many dishes like a beef bourguignon sometimes will have ghee in it, or a ratatouille will have it.
Yeah.
So this
So could you substitute different lentils for different?
100%. So you can substitute the millet with any other millet. You can substitute the lentil with any other lentil. You can substitute the millet with rice, or
Okay.
you can skip one of them completely.
And how do you just for me? How do you cook millets?
So the best way to cook millets would be to soak them overnight, or like not even
Similar
overnight.
to a dry bean.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, because I am a lazy cook, I've got a 2.5-year-old, I've got a really busy life, and I love to cook, and I'm a very
Yeah.
So for me, things are about like, so for example, I haven't soaked these millets, but it's gonna be good because if you have, for example, a pressure cooker, which I, by the way, recommend to everybody, your life. will be
Yeah,
free
pressure cookers are life, man.
and post pressure cooker. It is energy saving.
Yeah.
This dish that I'm cooking on this is going to take me half an hour. On a pressure cooker, it will take me 10 minutes.
10 minutes, it's done.
tops. And you just chuck one of them together and you put it, and it's a great family meal, this one. Because you've got your lentils, you've got your millets, you've got your vegetables, you've got your spices, you've got your garlic, you've got all the anti-immunity, healthy
Amazing.
stuff. It's going to fill you up, and it's a dish that the entire family can have.
Right.
And I'm making this with a yogurt dip, which we call raita in India, which is again yogurt mixed with a lot of spices and
Yeah.
vegetables. So
Okay.
yeah, while it's
Great.
cooking,
While you're doing that, we're going to taste here and then see what we think.
Look,
JC,
that
you wanna
that
taste?
is the most colorful thing we have ever
Yeah.
seen. Okay.
I'm going to try one.
Yeah, coming.
This doesn't
Delicious. Wow.
It's good?
Eliud, if there's anything to eat, this one. Wow.
It's
Amazing.
Is it good?
Good work. That's why, wow, you're part of the beans. You're part of Pabra.
Yes,
So,
I'm part of Pabra.
yeah,
Yes.
you're part of
yes,
Pabra.
Yes.
I like the different textures you
Yes.
put in there.
I love
So
it.
you got the crunch.
The crunch, the softness.
Yeah. That's
You've got all your. It's like you've got all your nutrients in one bowl. It's my favorite. Like, can you imagine mango in there? Can you imagine avocado in there? Can you imagine pomegranate in there? It just like excites your taste buds. It is, yeah.
We're gonna bring around a microphone and see if anyone wants to make a comment. So Emily's got a mic, I think. You got the mic? Anyone want to make a comment? I'm enjoying. Okay, it's coming. Elliot, what do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
What,
Eat
what,
up,
what, what
eat
do you
up,
think?
eat up.
Very delicious.
Delicious?
Thank you. Yeah, very delicious. Yeah.
So these recipes are going to be available on Chef's Manifesto. They're bringing some more around if you haven't tried this. Lorato, in terms of keeping this, it's best served fresh, but can it keep in the refrigerator for a little while?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that earlier on. So the good thing about this is you really need the flavors to come together, right? So you can do it like 2 hours before serving, just so that they all get used to each other. they start sharing their flavors and tastes. And once in an airtight container, it can stay for another 2 days. Because there aren't any wet ingredients per se in here like a tomato, it's not gonna spoil quicker, you know? So you can keep it in an airtight container for 2 days in a refrigerator and it's good to go. Yeah.
Amazing. These recipes, there's a number of recipes as well that are available at Beans' house. These recipes, you can scan the QR code, and there's recipes from each of the chefs that are here. And these are recipes you can take home, you can mix and match. So we've got one. Do you want to say something about your recipe?
The other one, you mean?
This one, yeah.
Okay. So the second recipe is also beans. This one is cooked. This one is best served with mili meal, satsa, or even the, what is it called, the cassava flour. It's absolutely delicious. It's hearty, and it's also like the starter of this recipe. It can also go, you can curry it, or you can have. So on this one, there's a little bit of curry in it, just for a different feel, but it's warmer, so it's actually even nicer for a winter like dish, but it's quick to prepare as well. It's a chop in one pot for busy moms, some salsa, and yeah, we're happy to go. So this is also a winner. Yeah.
Okay, let me check in. How's it going?
So my millets are gonna come, I think, come through.
Yeah.
We'll get them in a minute.
Yes,
Come,
but
everyone's still eating.
you can try
We'll bring it in a minute.
yogurt
So tell
dip.
us what you're doing. So you got
This
yogurt.
is a yogurt dip, which is I think, also quite a nice, just if you want to have a really light
Yeah.
lunch, you can have just this.
Yeah.
It's yogurt mixed with vegetables, mixed with spices. There's garlic, ginger, there's onions, and there's some tamarind, which I love. It's again another underused ingredient.
Yeah.
Because we always look towards like, lemon or lime. When you don't have that, tamarind is always a great replacement, but it also adds so much punch to a dish and elevates something. So yeah, you can try it.
Thank you.
And the millets should be here soon.
Okay. So in terms of audience, I'd love to hear any questions for any of the chefs. If anyone's got any questions or comments, just on the
Dish.
dish
We need
or
her
questions
dish.
about cooking that you've heard today, please put your hand up and we'll come to you. Okay, we've got a question.
Where's
I'm
Jen?
not sure where Emily's gone.
Oh, she went. I sent her to the kitchen.
Okay, so I've just tasted this and it's quite delicious, very nice, and you can't even know there's beans inside. So I think this is where we want to go, and we need to have a lot of this.
Yes.
I'm actually going to prepare this when I go back home. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, my brother. Enjoy it. Thank you.
I'm just tasting the yogurt. It's got some chili in it, a bit of kick, which
Yes.
is great.
And some jaggery to make it
Amazing.
sweet, and the tamarind also
Wow.
makes it sweet.
It's amazing.
So it's
Super
like
then.
sweet, sour, spicy, punchy. Yeah. Lovely.
Okay. I want to. Have we got the microphone?
Emily,
I don't know where the person went. But
there she is.
I want to ask these two ladies here in the front here. I think they're involved in this space in some way. Stand up, introduce yourself, and tell us what you think.
Hi everyone, my name is Moyo. I'm from Nigeria and I'm the chef and founder of the Atija Experience. We do Nigerian fine dining. Really lovely, I love the salad, super fresh. I had a question actually. So one time I was contacted to do a private dinner for an international group coming to Nigeria. And when they were giving me the brief, she said, oh, try and avoid things that maybe are too heavy, too Nigerian, like beans.
Oh,
And I said to myself, why do we think that certain palates cannot handle beans? Why do we think that certain stomachs cannot, handle beans? I was just wondering. I just wanted to put it out there.
I mean, this is a really interesting question
Yeah.
because there's a lot. So one of the things, beans is how we campaign to double the consumption of beans, peas, and lentils. And so we've done a bit of research on this, a bit of a review to sort of look at what does it actually, what are all the myths around beans? There's a lot of myths around gas.
yes.
There's a lot of myths
Flatulence.
around digestion and
Yeah.
how your stomach. ways to actually, simple things that can actually help. But to me, a lot of this is mythology. I've heard people say you get, if you have gout, you can't have beans.
Yeah.
And then I've gone to my scientist friends, people like JC, and said, tell me, to nutritionists, tell me, is this true? Because there's so many myths.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is we've got to shift the myth. We've got to stop the idea, because people think of beans and they just think of a bean stew or a bean salad. This is a very different bean salad.
Yes. Yes.
It's almost like almost unrecognizable bean salad. I'm used to that three being very
Yeah.
boring, almost.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
JC, what?
I can only add, you've done a good job. So I can add a few things. There are two issues here. One is the grain composition, the polyphenols, the tannins, the oligosaccharide. The beans have a different of that composition.
Okay.
So the ones which probably produce that may be more polyphenols and tannin. But that's one. Then we have now others which are not the high concentration, high content. So we have yet to understand very well, but that's the element behind. And we are also trying to look at if you reduce this at the expense of this, what happens. So there's a tannin composition and polyphenols which can help. But the second is also the habit. It's like, there are people who are lactose intolerant. So if I've eaten beans maybe recently, that can happen. Or you can also mix various varieties which have digestion time is different. Then some digest, others don't the same time. Or cooking, the time you have cooked may also another factor. But we are really investing in that kind of research as a food science and food technology, so that when we sell to a bracket of the segment of market like you, we can label this one has this and this and this. You can go if you want. But also there are people who say, well, to some extent that gas is not that bad because it shows that your bacteria are working hard and they're active. But anyway, that's between the bracket.
Thank you.
One of the people in the science advisory group, which JC chairs for our campaign, talks about a party in your pants. They say it's like fermentation. As a chef, when you want to ferment something, you get excited when you see the bubbles.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But beans they're a prebiotic.
Exactly.
So they're not a probiotic. Often we take yogurts and things to give us, to compensate for something missing.
Yes.
But
Whereas
also
this is
depends-
about what you feed it.
But it's also depends on how much bean you have. Like you
Exactly.
can't just have the entire meal which is just beans, right?
Yeah.
So it's about like the combinations. You use a bit of beans, a bit of vegetables. You can also for example cook beans with yogurt. For
Yeah.
example, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
great way to cook it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in rajma, which is like a very typical way of cooking kidney beans in India, you will add yogurt to it. So again, multiple ways of cooking them, which will not make you sick. I mean,
But also, we also have to remember that trends are the ones that set what people want to eat and how people perceive, like what chefs are supposed to be cooking. And us as chefs, we have to reverse that. We need to set the trend. We need to set the notion. We need to set the bar for ourselves so that we are forever educating people. And I think diversity in how we develop our recipes also, because we started off as just it being a main course or a meal, we didn't really serve it as a starter, we didn't really serve it as a snack, we didn't really serve it as a sweet, so for habit in our household to keep introducing our kids to grow throughout things but see it in different ways, we need to diversify how we cook the beans. But I agree with the gentleman as well. I think because we had no knowledge, this is quite advanced. We know now we really have to soak it thoroughly, we really have to wash it thoroughly, we really have to cook it thoroughly so that we avoid the gas and the what and the this. So I think that's the first knowledge we need to share. But like diversifying how you can use beans would really set us into the next level.
And the food innovation, there's lots of examples of, everything from bean cornflakes. I don't know what you call them,
Right,
bean
yeah.
flakes.
Yeah.
But, there's all kinds of different
Then
innovations.
bean noodles.
Bean
Noodles.
Yeah, bean pasta.
But-
There's a lot of this happening and it's coming very fast as an innovation. And so I think this is also really important for young people that are getting involved, looking for ways to innovate, start business, value addition. And I think there's
particularly young women entrepreneurs. Right.
Awesome. I think we've got the other dishes coming around.
Yes,
The other dish?
Yeah, I think people have tried it.
Yes, please.
Oh, sorry. no
Fine.
worries.
Hi, I'm Gona Ijogu. I'm a food tourist. I would like to say big ups for the bean salad. I'm one of those people who is very picky with beans. I'm one of those people who it's very hard to convince to eat beans. I would say I just have a certain way of having it, but seeing it diversified in this way and it can be used as an alternative meal. I love alternative meals, especially healthy alternative meals, but seeing the fact that what you're doing here is great. People like me, the ones who are very picky with beans, will have like a whole menu to pick from. So we can see that it doesn't have to be the stereotypical way that we've always known beans to be. So I would say big ups. I'm really, really interested in seeing what other dishes we can have from beans.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, I really appreciate it. And I think this is part of what it is. I mean, as you think about it, there's a lot of things that people are looking for: gluten-free, low cholesterol, there's a lot of different kind of food requests now coming. You sort of people maybe say don't beans, but then they want gluten-free, and this is a gluten-free. Bean flour is
Right.
gluten-free. You have all these kinds of elements. Has anyone tried the millets? I don't know whether anyone has tried. Have they come out? Pardon? Okay. Any other feedback on the food or questions from anyone in the audience? Everyone looks satisfied.
Confused.
So we've got another Shumi. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this other kidney beans?
Yes, so I just kind of already spoke about that. This is like a very typical Indian meal that you will have like a couple of times a week, which is kidney beans cooked with ginger, garlic, tomatoes, and a rich tomato sauce, almost similar to chili con carne. And you can always add like minced meat to it. You can add like meat, different kinds of meat to it. But also, besides this, I love another bean which is like the cannelloni beans.
Yes.
Because if you want a European flavor, I think cannelloni beans are wonderful because they're so soft and butter beans, and you can cook in a really nice buttered garlicky sauce with some cream or coconut cream, and I think that's again lots of olive oil, add some carrots to it. I think that's a great base for any meat dish as well. Again, add great art.
Okay, so my name is Edith from the Alliance and Pabra, and I have a comment to the chefs. I think my comment would be I stand as a mother right now, and we have very many lazy snacks for the children, but unfortunately or fortunately, they're not as healthy. So simplify this whole thing, not just for the chefs, not just for the big hotels, but for the simple mothers. The ingredients should be easily available, because if we have to transform the whole food system, we have to start with the mothers in the village who might not be able to access the capsicum to make the bean nutritious appealing, especially to the children, because the children will look at the food and they'll quickly dismiss it. Even myself, when I'm home and I'm a mother, that is so good, I've loved it. The millet is so good, I've loved it. But how do I prepare it in a way that when JC has let me go home in 30 minutes, I'm able to make that nutritious snack in the next 30 minutes? Yeah.
So my dish, for example, the millets and the yogurt it literally will take under 30 minutes because you put all of them in one pot, cover it, make your dip, and go play with your child. And then by the time you finish playing or are going to sit down, it's ready. So for example, my daughter, I've got a 2.5-year-old, and she's really fussy. But she loves lentils. So we were just traveling, for a bit, and we didn't have home cooked food. And towards the end, she was like, "Mama, I want dal rice." I was like, "Really?" Because this is a half French kid, and she's like, "I want dal rice. I want dal rice," because she just loves the simplicity of dal and rice. And one thing that I always think works with kids is like baby-led feeding. So if you just let them play with it and for example, she loves serving the dal on her rice and mixing it because it gives her the sense that she's cooking. And when she does that, she lands up eating a lot more and trying more experimental stuff. And same with beans. Like I usually do like a plate where I put like a little bit introducing kids to flavors or textures from an early age, like when they're 5 months, 6 months, always helps in the long term.
Yeah.
So maybe also I can add, just give a story from the
chef.
field.
As the chef.
Yeah, that's what. I can give a story from the field. So I give several varieties to farmers in southwest Uganda. One of them is called Nabe 12C. Highly palatable. Highly palatable. I never see such kind of palatability. And then the others, which probably were not highly palatable. So when I asked the mom, what did you do with the Nabe 12C, the highly palatable? I said, wow, I only give a little bit to my children. Otherwise, if I live there, they will finish and I don't sell it. So we also need to know which variety to feed.
Yes.
So which variety, this category, that's market type. Maybe there are people who don't mind the small red because A, B, C, D. The others will say, wow, I love this. So if you have a kid who is very picky, then you can also, which market type of beans I can share with this person. Yeah, I think that's very important. So variety selection.
Lorato,
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, so thank you for your question because I think I went through the whole process with my kids as well. And what I realized worked for me was if I had to do this and I don't have couscous, I know that kids, when they see rice, I'm not promoting rice, but when they see rice in anything, they will eat it. So I will substitute the couscous because I want everything in here in their stomach. So I will put rice in here and maybe make like a yogurt dressing, you know, because what that does, it cleans your mouth. So it keeps on disguising, you know, the food that they'll go, no, take this out, I don't want this. So the yogurt kind of does like the disguise, but it's super tasty. If you add mint to this and the yogurt, it's like a different dish, you know, but like you didn't cook, you know, you literally were there for like, it took me like not even 15 minutes to put this together. The only time you need to like use electricity is to boil water, you know, to cook the rice or do the couscous. But like, I disguised most of my kids' food like this because I really needed them to be nutritious, like to have nutrition and like the good stuff. But I'm negotiating this whole thing, like eat your pea, eat your this, was hard. So I did one pot wonders until they were ready to like, comprehend. But now I don't have fussy eaters because now they're used to textures, different tastes. You know, now they're the ones asking me to provide these things. So,
That's great.
yeah.
We're almost at the end. Any other final comments or questions while we've got the chefs here and Jean-Claude, our bean expert. One more.
Yeah, just a last comment. With millet, I love millet by the way. But the reason that some people don't really eat it at home is because sometimes the locally manufactured ones, they have stones, tiny stones in them that are the same size as the millet. So the effort of picking it or washing it is so much that they just feel, let me just eat rice that I'll just wash once. So I think it's about also food systems. How do we create systems? Millet fonio. Fonio is so tiny that the sand inside, honestly, you're going to eat that sand because there's no way to get it out. So how do we ensure that those food systems prevent those things from ending up in the food that the end user gets at the end of the day?
I agree, and I think it's chef's responsibility to promote more millets because that way the supermarkets will learn that there is a demand for it, and they will start, you know, doing that process of removing the stones, removing the, you know, covers on its own. Because back in the days, if you think about it, even now, sometimes in rice you will find stones
Exactly.
or lentils. But now
Exactly.
you don't do that because chefs have promoted. I mean, it's a widely used ingredient. So I think millets, it's our responsibility as chefs to just keep pushing it.
If the market's there, this is where, but there is innovation.
Yeah.
And it's a question. But that's the kind of questions you should be saying. And this is why it's important to have chef voices in the conversation. Because, you know, it's all fair and well from the farmer's perspective, from the scientist, even the way JC was talking about palatability and
Yes.
what did you say? Something 21? Yeah, see, that's the way a scientist talks about food. Whereas a chef talks about this beautiful, delicious, very
Yes.
tasty,
Yeah.
you know, ingredient. And this is why we need to work together. And this is why a food system, as you were saying, food system conversations are really critical. This is a food system forum. It's to bring people together from different parts of the system. And so, you know, I really want to the organizers have really intended to try and do this. And I think it's really important, even in our local geographies, think about how you do that. You know, how do you bring people that are working in the other parts of the value chain, the system, to come into the conversation and say, you know, why aren't you buying my millets? And you go, well, you've got stones in them, you know, and then that's a problem to solve. But if you don't know,
Yeah.
you're just growing it and then you're saying there's no
Yeah.
market.
Right.
So this is the same in beans. We're looking at this with the beans campaign to say, how do we get the products out there? Some of it's innovation, some of it's the way it's presented. some of it's-
Connection.
Yeah, some is the
connection.
Some of it is the science, like actually
Yeah.
how do you make it more profitable, less water, better nutrients. So we need to think all of these levels as we drive things forward. And that's kind of the conversation that we really want to have. And this is why I think a partnership makes so much sense.
I'll add one thing too. I think it's also, unfortunately or fortunately, the whole, when something needs to become like a global scale, it needs the approval of the West. So, for example, chefs like Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver and people like that should be promoting these ingredients. And they already are to an extent. And if the more they promote it, the more people will start embracing it. Because once people start embracing it, I mean, look at what happened with tapioca pearls. They were nowhere to be seen 10 years back. Now it's the new cool thing. Pret a Manger has
Trend.
tapioca pearls, right? And
Trend.
tapioca pearl is something I grew up eating, and it was something my grandmother used to eat, right? But now it's trendy and sexy because big chefs are promoting it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Okay, we're gonna come to a wrap. Any final words?
Yes, I think, like I said earlier, you know, chefs, together we can do this. We need to take control for the benefit of our society and community, right? For the benefit of the growth of the farmers, because we need them to create the food, and for the benefit of our own families, to better educate them on what needs. Because right now we are using pills to heal our bodies. We should actually be using food to heal our bodies. And so this whole thing needs to be like turned upside down so that we start living fulfilled lives, you know, and understand what goes into our body, where it comes from, you know, literally, like, you don't have to meet the farmer, but understand what happens for it to get to your table, and start telling your kids, supermarkets don't grow fruit, you know, or vegetables. It's actual people. It's our grandmothers, our fathers, our whatever. So let's start speaking that kind of language. We literally have to go back, like, I don't know how many years, to come back to today, because we've lost years and time and information and knowledge. So we need to be conscious about what we eat and how we eat it, when we eat it, and why we are eating it.
Yeah. Any final?
I think for me, I think we should just, all of us, look at our individual you know, cultures and look back for inspiration. And also, I think my biggest thing is cooking is not intimidating. And I think chefs should stop making
Yes.
cooking look like it's a scary activity. I think everybody should be able to cook. The whole new feminist movement of saying, I don't cook, you know, it's not cool to say that. Nobody should be able to say, I don't cook. We should all be cooking, because
Yeah.
cooking is a basic
It's a
act. And
need.
the more we cook at home, the more we understand ingredients. And the more we understand ingredients, the more we know what goes in our body. It's as simple as that. So I think if we just start at that basic level, then you know what, we cook one meal a day. That's it. And it could be simple. And I think that's my thing.
Yeah.
That everybody should be cooks. Chefs are not, you know,
No,
superhumans.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final word?
Yeah, just for your information, we are what we eat. That's the first principles. We are what we eat. That's
Yes.
number one. Number two, beans. That's not only the common beans we see
Yes.
probably there with the pabra, but beans in general, what they have taken here, the pulses, they are good for you as a consumer, they are good for the planet, they are good for the farmer.
Yes.
Very important. Number three, most of these farmers are women. The more you consume, the more you give market opportunity. Number four, beans are climate smart crops. We have a variety of 65 days, 70 days. With the maize or other crops or others, 4 months, 6 months. So it can give, the more you consume, it can give a farmer an opportunity that in 60 days, they sell their produce and they get more incomes. And they use less water than some other crops. So please, consume, provide the feedback, but at the same time, pay better farmer so that give more money to the farmer in a profitable way so that they can continue investing in their farms. That's what we are looking for. Otherwise, as a scientist, We support you. We'll continue working together to get the right products you need. Thank you for bringing all this together. Paul, this is amazing to see how research, science can work with consumption, can work. So we have 3 hubs, production hubs, distribution hubs, and the consumption hubs. If you cannot have these 3 hubs, you cannot evolve. That's what we are doing here. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Jean-Claude. Look, hopefully you've learned something today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another exciting presentation with some new chefs also cooking. The chefs will be around if you want to come up and have a conversation or ask them anything further that you're a bit shy in the room to ask. But I just want to acknowledge and thank them for the time that they've put in. They've come here from quite some distance. We're also going to be at the stand later, so that you can go down there, pick up these cards, get a recipe to take home, look at the website for that as well, and check out also the CGIR, the science, and which Pabra is a part of. Go and visit some of the stands of some of the partners as we're out there. So a big round of applause for our chefs and our special guest, Jean-Claude from Pabra.
And the audience.
And all for the audience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. A pleasure to meet you.